Okay, good morning. We're continuing. Reish Tet Zayin. We are on Si'if Tet. All right, continuation, same principles we learned before. Now, person says, Amar Konam Basar V'yayin Alai. He uses the word to make a korban, to make a neder on meat or wine. And he says it's on meat and wine in general. All right? Mutter betavshil sheyesh bo basar v'yayin, afapi shenotnim bo ta'am. So then what about, let's say a person has a stew, a soup. So can someone have the liquid and the vegetables? So if he just says basar or wine, stam, so then the tavshil, the rest of it, even though there's flavor, we're going to see it's a mutter, we'll keep reading. Mutter betavshil, it's a mutter to eat everything else in there except for the meat or the wine that's there. V'im amar, right? Or if it gets mixed in, here we're talking about min she'eno mino. It's mixed in with a different item. The next seif we'll talk about min bemino. He didn't have that in mind. V'im amar konam basar v'yayin sha'ani to'eim. Oshani ochel. When he makes the neder on meat or wine, he specifies it's in regards to eating or tasting. So then we'll keep reading. Oh, sha'amar konam basar o yain ze alai. He doesn't say in general meat and wine. He shows you, he points to it or picks it up, and he says this, right? So then it's specific to this item, this mamashas in front of him. Then asur betavshil sheyesh bo ta'am basar o yain. Right? It's a chayfetz. Okay, then that is like gedulim. Fine, because then you asur that chayfetz, not wine or meat. You are this chayfetz. So any part of it is going to be asur. It's a chayfetz of isur to him, and so therefore even the ta'am is asur. Okay, let's go to the next one. The Shach just points out, again, we're going to see this now, we're going to see it primarily in the next couple simanim, a lot of this, a little confusing, a little not, is, he points out, but really, we're talking about a stam case. I think I said this yesterday. A lot of these questions are stam when you didn't specify what you had in mind, you didn't have anything in mind, you just said it. But if he did have specific kavana, azlinan batar kavana, so you go after his kavana, as the Shach says. We will see more about this in Reish Yud Chet. So it changes things, bein l'kula, bein l'chumra. Of course, I believe it's usher to taste it. Let's say you're cooking it for other people, and you want to taste it, but you made a neder. It's it's a chetza of isser for you now, unless you stipulated it's usher to me, except for to taste it for whatever, to taste it. Yud. Nitarev yain zeh. Okay, sha'asro al atzmo. B'yayin acher. Okay, so you have a case of wine, whatever the item is. We use the example of wine over here, and you turn it into a chetza of iser because of your neder. And now it gets mixed in with other wine, right? Min b'mino. Afilu tipa b'chavit. Even one drop. Ne'esar hakol. Everything becomes aser. How can that be? Right? It's midirabanan mipnei sheyesh lo lihishaya al nidro. Nasa kadaver sheish lo matirin she'eno batel b'mino. As we already learned this, right? And eser v'heter, that anything that's aser b'mino sheyesh lo heterim, it's not batel, even be'elef, because it's davar sheyesh lo matirin. And anytime you could do a taras nadarim, that's called davar sheyesh lo matirin. The Shach also points out, thank you for reminding me, but he points out you could eat, and if you don't know if you taste any item, you can ask a friend, because it's kosher food. It just, you have the neder on you. He didn't make that neder. So you can ask him, can you taste it or not? And you can trust him. Okay? And the Taz also points out, we're talking about wine with wine. If you have wine that went sour and now it's called wine vinegar, that's not called wine, that's called vinegar. So that's not a case of min b'mino. So, okay, anyways, Yud Aleph. Ha'omer al atzmo yeno shel ploni o shel makom ploni dino kedin ha'oser al atzmo yain zeh. If you specify, your friend's wine or someone's wine or the wine of this place, it's as if you said this wine. And so everything we learned until now applies accordingly. She'asr b'tafshil shenafal bo. It's asr, right? Even the te'ima. V'yesh bo ta'am yain. Tastes like a little bit of wine. V'hu adinim also shenase chometz achar shenadar shehu asr alav. Now, this is contrast to what we said. Let's say it already became asr. It was wine. And then a month later, it turns into vinegar. So even though now it's chometz, it's not called wine, right? If you were to make a neder on yain, that would not include this. But it became aser at the time when you made the neder, it was yain. So it became an chefetz of iser. And just because it starts to sour or change into chometz, that's not going to take away the iser. Yain zeh. Okay, nasa chometz achar neder shu aser alav aval. Whatever was vinegar when he made a neder was vinegar. That's never included in yain. Okay, and Hagad the yain aser alav v'lo chometz, because he said a neder on yain, not a neder on chometz. We said that. Fine. Let's go to Yud Bet. Amar konam zeitim v'anavim alai. So you say the words that olives and grapes are usher to me, right? You use the proper lashonos to make it a neder. And basically the issue is you use the words zeitim v'anavim. So then, whatever other fruit as well, those are the examples. Mutter b'shemen v'yayin ayotze mehem. Then the wine, okay, let's see if it applies to other fruits, but let's keep reading. I believe so. Now, you could derive from there oil or wine, right? Mutter b'shemen v'yayin hayotze mehem. Now, you didn't say zeh. You just said zeitim v'anavim in general. So therefore, the juice, the olive oil, the oil, whatever it is, and then the wine is mutter when it comes out, because it has a different name. It's not the same item anymore. Let's keep reading. Afilu chadash, even though it's fresh, so it still tastes like grapes, and it tastes like the olives, right? V'im amar konam zeitim v'anavim sha'ani toim, or sha'amar konam zeitim elu alai. If you specify that I'm tasting, or you say these, that's the case that we had previously, the beginning of this siman, where you specify these. So then, asur af b'mashkim hayotzim, even from the liquids that come out of them, then it's asur. But that's if you specify these. If you just say the name of the fruit, but now it's a juice, so that's interesting. I'm a little confused right now. If afterwards you squeeze it, we'll discuss. And if you say these, it becomes an item of iser. So therefore, it stays. The item itself is iser, and the ta'am is also going to be iser. Let's go to ratio zayin, and we'll try and come back to there the next time. Aleph, a ratio zayin. Now, really, you're making a neder on items. And really, the point is Holchin ben Nadarim Achar Lashon b'nei Adam. Okay, so that's the title, Siman Reish Yud Zayin, and let's go to Aleph. Again, the main point is, and we're going to see this, the post can point out, is in a case of, based on how people speak, right? A stam case, if you don't specify, we go after the way it's common for everyone to speak. If it's not clear, it's a rare phrase, and it's not clear, maybe we could deduce what you had in mind, but it's not totally clear what you had in mind, or because people don't speak like that. You use a language that's not normally spoken, or if you're in Chutz La'aretz, or wherever you are, and you're in a place no one speaks Hebrew, and you use Hebrew. So in these cases, when it's not clear, the halacha is you go after Lashon Tara. That's what the post can say all over. The Shach brings that, but it's all over. Okay, let's read it inside. Aleph. Nadar or Nishpa, it's the same thing. This whole concept of Lashon b'nei Adam. Again, you will see when we get to ratio Chet more, a little bit here. It also goes by Lashon Bnei Adam, but it also goes on, and it depends on where you live, the century you live, the generation you live, but it also goes on based on what your kavana is. Okay, let's see inside. But really, Reish Yud Zayin go a little bit together with Reish Yud Chet. Okay, a person makes a neder or a shvua. So this halacha of Lashon Bnei Adam applies to both nedarim and shvuas. So what does he say? He makes a neder meha mevushal, right? Whether the lashon is based on korban or isser, whatever it is, you make a neder on an item and you say the word meha mevushal, whatever is cooked. So then it depends. In that place, in that language, in that time period, shikorim mevushal, afilu litzliya shaluk. If when a person says meha mevushal, then it includes also items that are roasted or grilled. That's tzli. And shaluk happens to be a machlokas. The Tosfos and the Ran says it means partially cooked. The Rosh says it means it's overcooked. The Shach just points out the Ran, partial cooked. The Aruch Shulchan brings both of them. And I'm not sure if there's a nafkamina, because it really goes by Lashon Bnei Adam, but the Shach definitely prefers the Ran's. Anyways, let's keep going. Harei ze aser. So if it normally includes, when you say the word mavushal, it means roasted and partially cooked or whatever it is, overcooked, then it's included. When you make a neder on mavushal, you can't eat anything that was roasted or grilled or partially or overly cooked. Harei ze aser b'kol. Ve'im ein darkam likrot mavushal ela labasar shinbashal b'mayim ubetavlim. If when you say the word cooked, right, because literally that's the more technical, correct definition, it means only when you cook it with some liquid, some water, and and then maybe boiled is included. But we'll keep reading. But whatever it is, and you put some little spices, a little salt, a little this, a little that, and that's when you mean mevushal. So if that's what people mean only when they say mevushal, so then if you want to have a piece of grilled chicken, harei mutter, no problem. Bitzli ubeshaluk v'chein ha'meushan v'matugan v'mevusha v'chamei tiveria chotze yotze behem hochin bo achar halashon b'nei adam. A person makes a neder on something that's roasted or something that's shaluk or something that's meushan, so that's going to be smoked, or something that's fried or something that's cooked in naturally hot spring water. So then, is it included? So you go after lashon b'nei adam of the b'nei ha'ir, whatever is normally used. Okay, bet that's going to be the guiding principle for basically the entire seif, or at least most of it, and we're just going to go through a lot of examples. Bet. Hanoder mima'asa kedera. A person makes a neder on ma'asa kedera. Right? Something that's normally cooked in a pot, right? I don't know, pasta, whatever you might think. Eino asar ela midvarim martichim ota b'kedera. If you use the expression ma'asa kedera, so then it means it has to be, in order to be included in the neder, it has to be something that's boiled in a pot. Kamo rifos ulevivos uchayotze behem. Or such as rifot and levivot. Not sure exactly, but I guess they explain it means wheat or grains or kernels that are crushed. That's rifot that you cook in there, or something that's deep fried. So basically submerged in water or oil, and those are the examples. Okay, that's what is for sure going to be included. But asar atzmo mikol hayored lekdera. If he didn't say the word ma'asa kedera, he said the words kol hayored lekdera, harei ze asar bekol hamitbashim bekedera. Anything that was cooked in a pot, then it's included. Okay. Nadar mehayored letoch hatanur. You make a neder on, and you say the words anything that goes in a oven, that goes down in, and that's the expression, it goes down in the oven. So then, eino asar ela b'pat. That normally only refers to pot, bread. Those are the types of things you lower and enter into the oven. Right? That's the expression, whatever. not living in those times. V'imamar kol ma'aseh tanur alai. But if you use the expression of anything that's in the oven, anything that's cooked or comes out of the oven, however, whatever, kol ma'aseh tanur alai, use that expression. So then that's more inclusive. And aser bekol hana'aseh betanur. Anything that goes, that's in the oven becomes aser. Okay, let's go to Gimel. Nadar o nishba. A person makes a neder on min hamaliach. Uses the words min hamaliach. Right, so I mean salty. So im darkon lekros maliach lechol hamaluchim. If you, it's normal when everyone says the word maliach, you mean anything that has salt in there. Hareze aser bekol hamaluchim. So then anything that has salt in there is aser. That's part of your neder. Even if it's not there for just to help preserve it, you don't use it for anything else, flavor this, that. It's just to preserve it. It's still going to be aser because there's salt in there. Again, it depends on lashon bnei adam. But if a person says maliach, he always means salted fish. So then, eino aser ela b'dag maliach, right? And that's it. And the only thing that's going to be aser is dag maliach, because when people on the street use those words, that's what they mean. Fine. Nadar or nishpa min hakavush. A person makes a neder shvua on, uses the words min hakavush, something that's, I don't know, you would call it pickled, right? Something like that. If you say the words, I don't know, pickled or pickles, whatever it is, if you're in a place and when people say the word pickles, perhaps it means all kinds of pickled vegetables on torshi or whatever you're eating. So then, hareze aser bakol. Then anything that's got pickled is aser. But if it only includes certain vegetables or just cucumbers, when you use the word pickles, so then it only includes that pickled vegetable, or perhaps only pickled cucumbers. I'm raising the question. I have to, I guess, ask around for sure how people refer to the word pickles. And so too like that. Okay, I don't know. I think it always means cucumbers unless you specify, right? If you're American. Right, in Israel you say malafafon, right, in Israel, probably in Hebrew, chamutzim could include more, and you say malafafonim chamutzim, and malafafonim is just raw cucumbers. So I guess it's more of a, I don't know, in London also, in England you think also, pickles means only cucumbers. I think, I think, in America as well. Okay. Hayu miktzat, we could do a survey. Hayu miktzat b'nei hamakom. Now, if some of the people korim lokach mikzatam ein korim, you have some this way and some that way, right? So, do you go after the majority? So the general rule is ein holchin achar harov. You do not go after the majority. We pretty much touched upon this halacha earlier. Ella harezis safek nedarim. This, if you go, we don't go after rov. You don't go after rov because even if it is a rov, it could still, the person may have had in mind the minority opinion, right? I mean, we're not talking about a 95 to 5. If everyone knows what it means, then that's what it means. That's your lashon bnei adam of that place. We're not going to worry about a 5%. Where do you draw the line? I don't know, 10%, 45%, 30%. I don't know. But if it's clear, it's clear. If it's not clear, we call it a safek and nedarim. And v'kol safek nedarim lahachmer. Nedarim is a din daraisa, and so therefore we go lechumra. However, in the case of we do trust him to say nitkavanti kach, even if according to the rov. Even I believe we said even by an am haaretz. So anytime you go, it's a safek, some this, some that, but most go this way. Then you can trust the guy. To say if he had in mind this, the same as the road, then that together will work to trust him. That fine. Let's do one more. Let's try and finish the vegetables real quick. Omar, konam yerek alai. Person says the word vegetable on me. Eino aser ella b'nechalim chayim. If you stam just say yerek alai, vegetable on me, then it means it's raw. V'im amar Yarke kedera alai, and if you say the words yerek from a pot on me, aser af nichbashim ba, then it's aser. I believe he's saying if it's cooked or pickled. V'imamar yerek hamitbashel ba kedera. Use the words yerek hamitbashel. So then eno aser ela mitbashel ba. Then it has to be only what is cooked, right? Okay. Umil. Asar bekola mitbashlim ba af b'diluin. If you use the word mitbashel, then it includes all vegetables, even diluin. Diluin is a mean yerek sha'alav gedolat biyoter. They have very long leaves, and it's included in yerek. Okay. Shekol davar sha'shaliach nimlach alav.
Yarak means greens.
Normally, yarak means greens, not vegetables.
That's what we call it, yarakov.
Okay.
Yarak means green leaves.
Okay. Lashon b'nei adam on the time, but I very good. Okay. So it might only mean leaves. Fine. Shekol davar sha'shal. I don't know. Well, based on our examples, it seems to include both, but okay. Whatever the lashon b'nei adam is, shekol davar shaliach nimlach alavu bichlal haminahu. We're going to see this again. Anytime you have a shaliach, you send him to the store and you say, "Get me something," and then he calls you back and says, "They don't have what you have, but they have this." That item, in general, is included in that mean. Again, it depends on your shaliach and what the case is, and some people think differently, but that's the general rule, is because he's only asking you about something that's similar enough that people would include it and have it in mind. Otherwise he wouldn't ask you. Okay. V'im amar l'shlucha kachli yerek, you tell him, get me a yerek. Ve'eno motze ela diluim, he only finds diluim. V'nimlach bo, he asks about it. Lomar tirtzeh diluim, but they don't have, do you want diluim? That's what I found. Like that. About nadar madiluin mutar beyerek. So diluin could be included in yerek, but if a person says, I only want these diluin, I don't know, these long leaves, whatever they are, so then it would be mutar beyerek, it would be too different. All right, we'll finish vegetables next time.